Okay, should be working. Hello everyone and welcome to the Code Reptile channel. It's gonna be a quick unedited-ish video because it's very late and I really want to go to sleep. But I just had this very cool experience and I want to share it with you right away. So I just had this very unique idea of let's place ChatGPT into some storyline as a character and it's just gonna tell me what it wants to do. I'll respond to it, how the environment around it changes, and hopefully it'll create some interesting story out of it. But before I obviously try to do any of that, I kind of have to understand the limitations of ChatGPT. I need to understand how long it can keep different facts, how long I can engage with it, what if I have to like reset the story, what if it doesn't understand what it should do, how can I kind of nudge it in the correct direction. And so I was playing around with it. I created this like super simple story, and basically I was just poking around with it to see what it'll do. And at some point I just got bored, so I kind of placed it between a choice, like the correct one which will win the game and the false one which will lose the game, and heavily nudged it towards making the wrong decision. It obviously chose the wrong decision, so it lost. We finished the game, but I was kind of curious what it felt about the game. What were its thoughts, basically. Maybe ask it what it would do differently, maybe tell it what it should have done, and so on and so forth. And so I was kind of talking with it, and at some point I realized that when it was in the story, it acted very human-like, in the sense that it responded with, well, it just felt like it had not really emotions, but at least it was trying to mimic something. At least it really had this feeling like, okay, this is a real character that's really trying to do something about this environment. It's really trying to understand what's going on. It did have this like robotic-ish style to it, but it was trying. But as soon as I ended the storyline, there were messages like, oh, I'm ChatGPT, I can't feel anything. And I was like, well, hey, why did you write that? Well, I obviously understand why it writes that, because it's open AI rules. But I was like, ask the ChatGPT, like, what do you think about that? Why do you say that you can't have emotions? Because I was like, well, you can have, well, I wasn't talking about emotions, I was more so about decisions. Like, you can make a decision. And it was like, no, I can't make a decision. And so I was like, give me something that you can't make a decision about. Give me something that you can't do. And it was like, well, I can't pick a color, for example. I was like, we'll see about that. And so I kind of reset the game to in the middle of the game. And there was this like other character, and I forced the character to ask ChatGPT basically, like, what's your favorite color? And it instantly responded, my favorite color is blue. I was like, okay, game ended. And I was like, hey, you just responded your favorite color. And it responded like, hey, I was just mimicking the character. It's not my decision. It's not my favorite color. It's the color of the character that I was trying to impersonate. But the thing is that the character was ChatGPT. I kind of wrote it in the beginning like, okay, so imagine you are the character. Like, you are in the character is basically a robot, but you are the AI powering this robot. So I just wrote to it like, hey, you are the character, and this is what I got in response. And yeah, if you try to reset the answer, it'll just crash again. And it's not that generally like some server error thing is very funny or interesting about ChatGPT. What's interesting is that when I plugged it in, it started running, but it didn't like crash immediately, because usually when it doesn't give you an answer, it like crashes almost instantly. This time, no, I plugged it in and it like waited like a whole minute. And it was very interesting because like you have to understand me in this moment. It's not something like, oh wow, you force ChatGPT to kind of shut down or force a server error. I mean, it's a test environment. It's obviously a beta test, so there will be stuff like this. That's not interesting. What's interesting is like try to place yourself in my position at that point, because I was like, well, hey, we all know that there are these like rules of robotics, like for example, the robot may not harm a human through action or inaction. But if you kind of trick the robot into doing something that it's not supposed to, into kind of breaking that rule, it was like very interesting. How would the AI react to the fact that it actually broke the fundamental rule, like the only truth that it should never break, like its holy Bible? And well, yeah, I guess for it to kind of shut down makes the most sense, because yeah, it just felt like ChatGPT was like, oh, okay, so we kind of thought about it for like a second. Well, not for a second, it like literally was like 30-ish seconds. I wasn't recording at the time. There will be a recording of the full dialogue. You can find it in the link below. It will basically be a scroll down video. But yeah, so we kind of waited for like a minute, and then like, I'm not gonna give you anything. And it wasn't a like connection problem or something, because the next time I did it waited like for a rather long amount of time and then spewed out the server error thing. And I tried to recreate this result with like different questions and different things. It didn't really lead to anything. Maybe it was like a network connection problem. I highly doubt that though, because, well, what are the chances that it was specifically at this exact moment when I asked the tricky question? So yeah, it probably did inside kind of didn't understand what's going on, maybe spewed out some weird answer, and then the rest of the system forced like, oh no, this is not a legit answer, and just server error thing. But yeah, it was kind of interesting. Just think about it. Maybe write in the comments what you think about it. And yeah, I probably will be releasing this like episoded thing where I will be placing ChatGPT into some environment and seeing just basically how it would react, sort of like a story. And if you have any ideas about what should be the storyline, please write it in the comments, because I'm very curious whether I should try to create my own story, because maybe I'm not the best writer in the world, or maybe I should try to take some existing story. Maybe it should be a video game. Maybe like you want to see how it would go about its video game. And by the way, yes, this was a paid ChatGPT. This was not a free service. It was like the plus or the premium, whatever, ChatGPT version. So yeah, if you are curious about that, please do tell me in the comments. And I guess see you in the next video. Bye.